All right, let's talk about something that shapes pretty much your entire day. How the most successful products out there get you hooked. We're going to break down the science of how they build your habits, sometimes without you even noticing. You know that feeling, right? When you find yourself just scrolling and scrolling, almost like you're on autopilot, or you feel that little buzz, that pull to check your phone, even when you know there's probably nothing there. It's a weird feeling, like your devices are the ones in control. Well, here's the thing. That's not a bug, it's a feature. It is absolutely not an accident, and it's not you lacking willpower. It is the result of a very deliberate, very carefully crafted design process. So you gotta ask, why? Why do companies go to all this trouble? Why is making a product habit forming like the holy grail for so many businesses today? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It gives them some serious advantages. I mean, think about it. If you're hooked, you're a super loyal customer. You use the product way more often. You also tend to invite your friends, which is how things go viral. Plus, it builds this massive competitive moat. The QWERTY keyboard is a perfect example. There are better layouts for sure, but we're all so used to it, the habit is just too strong to break. And finally, once you're hooked, companies can start charging for things, like in those free-to-play games. Okay, so that's the why. But how do they actually do it? Well, the secret is a framework called the hook model. It's a simple but incredibly powerful four-step cycle that designers use to build these user habits from the ground up. It's basically a loop designed to pull you through an experience over and over again. It all starts with a trigger, which is the nudge. That leads to a simple action. The action gets you a variable reward, and that's a key word, variable. And it all ends with a tiny bit of investment from you, which, you guessed it, sets you up for the next trigger. And here is the crucial part. Every single time you go through this cycle, that neural pathway in your brain gets a little bit stronger. What starts out as a conscious choice eventually becomes this unconscious automatic habit. So let's peel back the layers on this. We're going to walk through the first three parts of the model, the trigger, the action, and that all-important variable reward, to see exactly how this whole process gets started. So everything, and I mean everything, kicks off with a trigger. You can think of it like the spark plug for the engine. It's the cue that tells your brain what to do next, and these triggers come in two very different flavors. First, you've got external triggers. These are the obvious ones, things in your environment. A paid ad, an email from a friend, or that little red notification bubble on your screen. They're great for getting you in the door. But the real goal, the end game for these companies, is to connect their product to an internal trigger. These are the feelings inside your own head. Think about it. When you feel bored, what do? Maybe you open Twitter. Feeling lonely? You open Facebook. Feeling uncertain? You Google it. Those internal feelings become the real triggers that bring you back, all on your own. Okay, so a trigger fires. But that's just a cue. For you to actually do something, to take that action, you need a combination of two things. You need to be motivated enough to do it, and you need to have the ability to do it. And this right here is a huge insight for designers. Trying to make someone want something more, increasing their motivation, is actually really, really hard. You know what's a million times easier? Just making the action simpler, making it almost effortless. That's why we have one-click checkout and infinite scroll. They reduce the friction so much that taking the action is easier than not taking it. So you've been triggered, you've taken an action. What happens next is where the real magic happens. It's the variable reward. And this isn't just any old prize. Its incredible power comes from its unpredictability. This is just pure brain chemistry. It turns out that our brains get a much bigger hit of dopamine, that's the feel-good neurotransmitter, from the anticipation of a reward than from actually getting the reward itself. It's that what am I going to get feeling that keeps us pulling the lever on a slot machine or, scrolling our social media feed. And you see these everywhere. There are rewards of the tribe. That's the social validation you get from likes and comments. There are rewards of the hunt, like scrolling through a feed looking for that next interesting nugget of information. And then there are rewards of the self, that feeling of mastery you get when you finally beat a tough level in a game. They're all unpredictable, and they all keep us coming back for more. Okay, we've covered the first three steps, but now we come to the final and maybe the most important step. This is the one that closes the loop and basically guarantees you'll be back. This is the investment phase. And yeah, it means the product asks you to do a little bit of work. So why does this work? Well, it taps into a really deep-seated part of our psychology. We are wired to be consistent.
Once we've put something of ourselves into a product, whether it's time, data, effort, or friends, we feel this powerful psychological pull to keep using it, just to stay consistent with who we've been in the past.
This plays out in a few fascinating ways. First, we just plain value things more when we've put work into them. Second, like we just said, we have that deep drive to remain consistent. And the third one is kind of mind-blowing. We actually change our own preferences to justify our past behaviors. It's like acquiring a taste for coffee or beer. At first, you might not like it, but you keep doing it, and eventually your brain literally changes what you prefer. Investing in a product does the exact same thing. Now, it's pretty clear this model is incredibly powerful. And when you start using words like getting users hooked, well, that sounds an awful lot like addiction. And that brings up some really important ethical questions, not just for the people building these products, but for all of us who use them. So, how can a creator know if they're manipulating someone or actually helping them? There's a really simple two-question framework that can act as a moral compass. First, does this product materially improve the user's life? And second, would I, the creator, actually use this product myself? If you can honestly answer yes to both, you're probably on the right track. But if the answer to either is no, you might be heading into some dangerous territory. And that really brings it all back to us. By understanding how this hook model works, we can become way more aware of all the invisible forces that are shaping our behavior every day. It gives us the power to step back and ask a really crucial question about our own lives. Which of my habits that I actually choose for myself, and which ones were chosen for me?